Welcome to the Biz Bash podcast, where we make biz strategy a piece of cake. I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Cami, but you might know us better as Eliza Ann Calligraphy and Cami Monet. We want to help you, our fellow stationers, artists, and calligraphers, confidently build a profitable and personality-driven creative biz.
We're here to share our honest-to-goodness advice and actionable strategies for ambitious artists.
So put on your party hat, quit being a procrastinator gator, and let's get this party started.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Biz Birthday Bash podcast. Today, we are talking all about productivity, or like a semblance of that. You know how it gets. Anyway, so this episode is all about, does your day run you, or do you actually run your day? Like, what are we doing with our time? As entrepreneurs, time is obviously our biggest commodity. We have a bajillion, million tasks to do, and we're doing all of them. Like, we wear like 42 hats a day. It gets crazy. You guys know. And I feel like last year in 2020, it became even harder to not have your day just run you because we didn't know how to plan for things in advance because we didn't know what was going on. Or, we just felt the weight of the world on our shoulders. So it became harder to be productive. And you guys know the drill. So this is going to be like a little refresher and hopefully like inspirational way to get started in the new year and just like taking control of our days again, running our days and getting as much done as possible so we can move forward with some awesome stuff in the new year.
Yay. Super excited to talk about this because I was just telling Cami how I feel like my brain lately has been mush because I'm like, where am I supposed to start? What am I supposed to do? Should I do this today? Should I do this today? Like, I feel like I'm kind of all over the place and like my day is totally running me right now, not the other way around. And it's not a very fun place to be.
Yeah. So I feel like this is going to be like just us getting back to basics a little bit and just like refocusing because we really do need that. Like I was feeling the same way. Like I'm obviously a very like go with the flow kind of person, but I'm like, I got to like get it back together and just like, I don't know, put some boundaries up, batten down the hatches a little bit. You guys understand what I mean? Like I was kind of thinking it like this, like it's kind of like here we go with some analogy, a weird analogy. It's kind of like you're in this like whitewater river and you're rafting and you like say you don't have the raft and you're just like going downstream, getting tossed and turned, like going through the rapids and you're like, what is happening? And you like cannot get control. Or if you actually are running your day, you have a raft, aka a plan, and you know the water super well, you know where the rapids are, and you can just tackle it with confidence and feel like you did a job well done when you get to the end of the calm part of the river, the end of the day. So we're gonna all just like prepare our rafts today.
Oh boy.
I know you guys, it's getting crazy. But like another way of looking at this too, I was thinking about is like, it's kind of like, are we going to be proactive with our time or reactive? Like, I think even just breaking it down like that is really important to look at. Like, do we just go into our desk and we're like, oh, I got an email, I'm going to start doing that. And like, you just react to everything. Or do you go in like having a plan? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yes. I have been reactive lately.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. 2020 was like the year of being reactive because it was impossible to be proactive with everything going on. And, postponements were happening. So you have to react to that immediately. Like it was hard to be proactive with things like your clients and stuff. So it just makes perfect sense, you guys. I mean, it was rough, but also, you guys, a little disclaimer for me, if you hate planning and feeling restricted, this episode will still totally work for you. It's just more about like putting boundaries into your flow. So you're like water isn't flowing everywhere out of the river.
Yes, absolutely. Like this doesn't have to make people miserable by any means. I was also going to say in terms of 2020, Cami, I felt like a great turning point for you was 1 a day in May because that made you very proactive. Like that was a great thing to implement because it was like, okay, every single day I have this goal in mind. I'm going to be proactive. I'm going to create one product. And sometimes we need to do stuff like that to get ourselves in gear. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, how can I do that now to trick my mind into the place where it needs to be? Because I feel like I am just like a scatterbrained hot mess.
I know.
This episode will help me reel it in too, because I feel like this is my biggest struggle right now.
Yeah. So this is going to be good because it's like, we're not experts in this field, obviously, but we can talk about like some of the tricks I've been doing recently to like bring it back in. And also this is kind of like coming from a weekly planning perspective. Like obviously you could do like daily or yearly, but this, like when I was thinking about all this, it was more like weekly. So just that little little note. Okay, so let's get going and running our day because we are fast and efficient, okay? So how to run your day. So the first thing with actually running your day is going to start at the end of the day or the end of the week, really. So it's all about doing a brain dump. Like this is so important, you guys, to just get everything out. So right now I have like my Sunday night brain dump that I've been doing. I've been doing that for a while. If I don't do the Sunday night brain dump, my week starts off chaotic. So this is obviously like what works for me, but maybe it'll work for you as well. I think it's just really nice to have everything out of your brain. So you're not like, okay, don't forget that thing. Because when you have that moment of like, don't forget that thing, your brain is just cluttered and foggy. So once you get it all out, you're able to actually start focusing and putting the pieces where they need to be. So literally my brain dump is like everything I want to get done for the week. Any lingering ideas or sketches, like my brain dump is like 5 pages with like pictures, drawings, like diagrams, like little individual lists. Like it doesn't have to be like cute. It's going to be a mess. Appointments that week, home task, like things I need to buy for like groceries or even for work, meals I want to make, like literally everything goes down on my brain dump. And this just helps me start my week with like a really fresh slate and just have everything off my mind so I have an idea of what's coming for the week.
I mean, I love my good old-fashioned brain dump, and I love just doing lists. So even yesterday, when I was feeling all kerfuffled and like, what the heck am I even doing right now? I took time to write down some things on my list of like, okay, these are the things I really need to be getting done. So writing some emails for a campaign, unpacking my Glowforge. I know that's like the most simple thing ever, but I was like, that's legit something I have to do. And the box is massive and there's a ton of different parts for it. Editing save the date from my client. We still need to do our Biz Birthday Bash financial overview, which is always super freaking fun, and get ready for taxes and all of that stuff.
Oh gosh.
And then I have a line that says microwave.
What does that mean?
I was waiting for you to ask that
because I picked it up so I knew what we were doing here. So
it's
good.
this thing that's been plaguing me in the back of my mind that we had Home Depot come and try to install a new microwave for us, and they could not do it because they said they did not know how to get the old one out. And now we are afraid that this is legitimately like glued into the wall. So it has been one of those things on my mind now that I'm like, I have to get like a contractor out here to take a look at this to see if we can replace the microwave.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you do a brain dump. You kind of like realize like, what are the things stuck in my head that are really bothering me? And then I can prioritize them. Like the microwave, in all reality, it's really not that important right now. I can set that aside so I can get other things done first. And I really want to get in the habit of, once I put things down on the list like this, being able to time block them out. And that kind of goes into our next point that we have on the list.
Yeah, of penciling it all in. Also, too, really quick, back on brain dump before we go into the next point.
Yeah.
I also, this kind of goes with brain dump, but not really. But at the end of the day, too, I think it's important to take like those 5 minutes to be like, what did I get done today? And like reflect. So, and then kind of like brain dump for the next day, like a mini one. You know what I mean? It's more like just like a little quick overview thing. It takes like 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, but just to like be like, okay, here's what I did on my list. This went well. This didn't. I still need to do this for tomorrow. And it's just like having those things where you can like close the door in your office after you have that like miniature brain dump. So Sunday night is the big one to prepare for Monday. Maybe it's better if you do it Monday morning for you guys. I don't know. Like whatever works best for you. I like Sunday night because I feel like after the weekend, like everything's kind of like rested up and I'm just like, okay, now I can start thinking for the week ahead kind of thing. So yes, have that little mini one at the end of every day too.
Yes. And being able for me to divide things into business related versus house related, especially now that we own a home. It's really easy for me to be like, oh, well, I can do this and this and this during my work day when that should not be my focus. Like I should be saving that to maybe do in the evening. I mean, it's hard sometimes because like there's places you can only call during business hours. So some of that stuff I have to do during the day to figure things out. But for me to be able to like mentally separate those will probably help a lot, because living in an apartment, I didn't feel like it was as bad because there wasn't this like laundry list of things that I could do to the apartment.
Yeah.
But now with the house, I'm like, and I could do this or this or this. Or like when you have a new home, you're still figuring out how to clean it. I know that sounds like the most basic thing ever, but I get like really hung up on like, well, I could vacuum this right now. And I'm like, no, I need to do that either on the weekend or in the evening. Like,
I know,
not during
because
my work day.
you're also in your house, so you're like looking at all the things that need to be done. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
Yes,
you're like
always
looking at your
looking.
microwave every day, so it's always there.
Our microwave that is literally from 1985. I kid you not. I do not think that they make this brand anymore. It's like a
It's a
carousel.
relic.
It is. It's ancient. And I mean, it still works. Like, it's great. It just doesn't look the best. So cosmetically, we would like to switch it out. So a little bit of a tangent here. This is kind of a funny story. This is going to be the theme of this episode is my microwave. But yesterday, I still get some notifications from Redfin about homes in the area because I'm always trying to convince my friends that they should move to the neighborhood that's like in my area. And there was a house that went on sale that was built by the same builder who built our home. And so his name is John Weiland. He built a ton of homes in like the East Cobb area and then in the 80s, basically. And as I was clicking through the photos, I was like, this layout of this home is so similar with like the paneling and the built-ins in the living room, with the trim on the walls, with the kitchen. And I was like, oh my God, they were able to get their microwave out of the wall.
Oh my gosh.
They have like basically the same kitchen. Like you can tell like the cabinetry and everything is like exactly the same as what ours is, just a different layout. So I was like calling the realtor yesterday to be like, this is super annoying, but is there any way you can tell me like who switched out the microwave for the seller? Because like we have the same model of home and we're trying to get ours out of the wall. And this is just like, what happens when I am not focused is that I'm like doing a million other things that I should not be doing. And I don't know why I started talking about the microwave again, but
oh my God.
Clearly it's been plaguing me.
I think that definitely needs to be on your brain dump, which it clearly was. But so what happened? Now I'm invested in the story.
Well, she was really, really sweet about it because I left her a really odd voicemail. And then I followed it up with a text to be like, I'm really sorry about my super strange voicemail that I left you. And she was nice enough to call me back to be like, they actually replaced a microwave that was not the original microwave. So it would have been the previous sellers who had pulled out the original microwave.
A mystery.
I know. So I was like, do you have the info for the previous sellers? No, I'm just kidding. I did not ask for that information.
Well, you have to ask for that information now. You have to, for all of us.
Well, it's getting a little too creepy to like be like, hey, remember when you guys lived at this house at this address? Who took your microwave out? Like, I don't even know if they would remember. At this point, I'm just planning on asking a contractor to come and take a look and tell us what we need to do. If I had to guess, it's probably a relatively easy fix. It's just that Home Depot won't install something if it's not to their exact specifications of what they need. They're very, very picky about it. So if they even see like something that throws them for a loop, they'll be like, we're not going to change this for you, basically. So it's probably less of a deal than I'm making it out to be.
And there we go. Oh, I love our tangents.
This is where my brain is. Do you see how I have no focus? So
yes, you're insane. No, I love you. But no. We are going to help Elizabeth, you guys. By the end of this, she's going to have a plan in place. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes.
None of us know
You're talking about home ownership and why my mind is in a million places.
I completely understand. Home ownership is like a whole nother thing. Like it really is. It's a lot. There's a lot going on. So yeah, I know. And like, you're still in like the first couple months of having it. So it's like still all the things like overwhelming and putting all the new stuff in. So it makes sense to be unfocused right now. And we just had Christmas. So obviously
yes, right.
Just like
so
no hope.
You come out of the holidays and you're like, I feel even more super frazzled because all of my energy was going into that. And now I actually have time to take a step back and see all the bazillion things that I need to be doing.
Yeah. So guys, after we all have our therapeutic brain dump that we all desperately need, maybe it even looks like things you want to do in the whole year. Like you could take this, like there's so many ways you could do this, but we're like, just get it all out. Just get it all out. Okay. It's going to make you feel better. And then once we do that, we're going to pencil it in, you guys. And I'm saying pencil because we're not going to use pen because things have to shift sometimes. And I just want us to keep that in mind. So let's start to fill in our week. There's like a million ways you can tackle in how you fill in your week. I mean, Elizabeth likes to use time blocking, or at least she used to. We don't know anymore. You can do batch days or like the Pomodoro technique, which is like you work for 25 minutes and 5-minute break, or doing a list for the day, et cetera, like what kind of works for you. And if you have no idea what works for you, like maybe try a different method every week until one really like starts to resonate with you. Like you can experiment with ways that you're most productive, because when you start to work for yourself, sometimes you have no idea like what type of style works best for you. So like give yourself the freedom to experiment with that.
Hey guys, we just wanted to hop in and talk about one of our amazing resources, the A to Z directory. All of us have thought at some point, how did she do that, or how did she make that? And maybe you don't know where to start or how the heck to produce this amazing product you've dreamt up.
Well, the A to Z directory is the missing puzzle piece in your biz, you guys, seriously. So it's built in the form of a yearly membership, and it's your one-stop shop for finding suppliers and vendors for all the things. Literally where to print everything from custom invitations, greeting cards, mugs, koozies, acrylic printing, letterpress, custom ribbon. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And it literally goes from A to Z. From acrylic printers to zipper pouches, we have it in the A to Z directory.
We want to help all of you search less and create more with this list of 300 plus vendors and suppliers. Don't worry, they're very organized. It's not going to be overwhelming and confusing when you join. And this membership also includes access to a private Facebook community. It's incredibly active and involved. And if you need a question answered fast, that is definitely the place to go.
Yeah, our Facebook group really is the best. You guys, everyone is so helpful in there. And we're in there too, answering questions you guys might have. So it's a great way to get access to us and ask us things without sliding into our DMs. So we're more likely to answer you in the Facebook group, just saying. Anyway, also in the Facebook group, this is new for 2020 and we're really excited about it. We are hosting monthly Power Hour Q&A sessions that are live, and these are only available to our A to Z directory members. So you can hop in with us live and ask us all your burning questions in real time and just hang out with us every month. And we do these at different times so you can actually be there live, and the replays are always available in the Facebook group for members.
This resource is priced at $147 a year, which honestly is extremely affordable, and it's full of so many benefits, such as exclusive vendor coupons for members only. And we would love to have you guys join. Seriously, it's kind of like our family and our tribe. So visit bizbirthdaybash.com/directory to sign up today and use coupon code podcast2020 to receive $20 off your first year. That's podcast, all caps, 2020 for $20 off your first year.
We can't wait to see you in the Facebook group.
I think my biggest thing I need to rein in recently is how much time I'm spending in my inbox, because I just get totally sucked into it. And I'm like, I need to do this Pomodoro thing, whatever you mentioned, where it's like, I give this 25 minutes of my time and then I stop and I move on to the next thing. And maybe I revisit it the next day or whenever. But ever since I started doing inbox zero, I have an obsession with keeping it that way, which really isn't necessarily the healthiest thing. And so I think I need to revise my strategy for that a little bit. But it's also hard when I'm managing like 5 billion inboxes, and that is not an exaggeration. So it's just like, I'm like, the email alone can be like so exhausting. But do you know any more about like the Pomodoro technique? Because I've never actually heard of that.
Oh, I just know that it's literally like you set a timer for like 25 minutes and you work like for 25 minutes and then it goes off, and then you take a 5-minute break and then you go back to working for 25 minutes or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. But there's like all kinds of little websites that have little timers, and it's like really cute. I used to like try to do some of that sometimes. Like when I'm feeling really unfocused, I'll do that. But yeah, it's fun. Like see if it works for you. It just also helps you like get a grasp of how long things take for you to do. And just like, it's like a little challenge, be like, how much can I get done in 25 minutes, kind of thing. That's how I always am. I'm just like, what can I do? Because like, I think that's where a lot of us get hung up on too, with like how long things actually take versus, or how long we give ourselves to do something versus how long it takes. Like that was one thing that would like really hinder running my day, is like giving myself too much time to do something. So you want to like shift your thinking from like, how long will this take versus how much time will I give myself for this? So if you're like, okay, this will actually only take me like 10 minutes to like answer all these emails so don't give yourself an hour to be like in your inbox. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But at the same time, the opposite of not giving yourself enough time can also be true, which I've done both of these. Like it's a delicate balance. Like sometimes we're like, oh yeah, I can do this painting in like an hour. And like 100% I cannot do that. And I know I cannot do that, but I like try to anyway. And so then everything gets kind of pushed back and I feel flustered and it just like ruins the whole flow of everything. So it's really important to know how long your tasks actually take instead of just guessing. So maybe, one of your exercises for starting the new year could be timing out like some of the major tasks you do. Just like literally set a stopwatch on your phone and see how long it takes you to do stuff. Because then you just have an idea of what your day can actually hold.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think back in the day was using something called Toggle, which I'm sure is probably still around.
The time tracker thing. Is that what that is?
Because I was trying to track how much time I spent on each individual project throughout the week, which now is like, it's way too hard to do because I'm doing like a gazillion things at once. But one of the steps that I have tried to take is first thing I did this year, which I don't even know if I told you yet, Cami, is that I actually set up an auto response on our Biz Birthday Bash email inbox.
Oh, cool.
And that way, every time someone emails us, it comes back to them with very clear boundaries set in place for the fact that our hours are Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I try to keep Biz Birthday Bash things on those days so that I can focus on all the other things I have going on the other days. Now, it doesn't always fall like that, but at least having the automated responder up lets people know when they can expect a response. And we get a lot of people like pitching podcast content all the time. So now there's something in the autoresponder that basically says like, if you're pitching a podcast to us, thank you so much for reaching out. We really appreciate it. And we will be in touch if we think your content is a great fit. Because I literally cannot respond to all of those emails, So that's like one of the things I've tried to do for a boundary with that email inbox, because it is not like my main one, quote unquote, if you will. And luckily it's like, we're not getting like a barrage of emails over there that we're not able to handle. But because I'm the main like email inbox checker, I would say, because I'm like so OCD about email.
Yeah, I'm like scared to touch anything in there. I'm like, I don't know what color code this goes under, so I don't want to mess it up.
That has been like really helpful for me to do, that I'm like, okay, at least if someone emails us, they're getting a response that kind of outlines a couple different things. And I'm like, you know what? This might annoy the crap out of people, but I'm going to do it because I have to do it for my own sanity. So I'm trying to do some other things like that too, that allow me to have a little more like mental control over my day without compulsively feeling like I have to check something or do something all the time.
Yeah. I think like that's really good for just like being like, okay, I spent some time in there and everything else they're still being taken care of,
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, like that obviously saves you a ton of time and helps you mentally. And for me too, like when when you just like procrastinate a task that it's going to take you like actually like 5 minutes, but you just procrastinate for like 5 weeks because you don't know why. I don't know. Yeah. So like for me, I like trick my brain by being like, okay, let's say I procrastinate on like something like, I don't know, filing like estimated taxes or something. And I'm like, oh, I just don't want to do this. Like I got to sit down. And literally if you like time yourself doing it, it truly takes 6 minutes or something. And you're like, why am I wasting so much time worrying about it when it would take 6 minutes of my day? Like sometimes just even knowing, like having that knowledge of knowing like how little time some of these tasks take is enough to just make you like get it done. Because in your head you like build it up so much, like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to sit down for like 3 hours, my day is ruined. And it's like, no, it literally takes 6 minutes. You need to stop being so dramatic.
Yes, like you put on here filing estimated taxes as an example.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was like trying to think of something where I'm like, oh, I'll do that later or whatever, and it's like literally it's so easy and quick to do.
Yeah, the same thing with like submitting the sales tax stuff, that I'm like, this is just going to take me like less than 10 minutes, but I get so hung up on doing it. Those business things.
I know. All those things, and you're just like, oh my God, it's going to take forever. And it just doesn't. So that's another way of like timing yourself doing tasks so you can just like see how much of an idiot you really are when it comes to overplaying things.
Oh yeah, totally. Like I definitely do that all the time in terms of procrastinating on the things that I really, really need to get done. Even with client work recently, that is something that I have found to be hard to do, which is so weird. It's like thinking about it like makes me tired and I'm like, "Oh, I can do it later. I can do it later." And I'm like, "I need to figure out a way to get my head in the game and get this done." And I think like later today I'm going to take a brisk walk around the neighborhood or something and get some fresh air and then be like, "Okay, and when I get back, I'm going to sit down and do this."
Yeah, just take that brisk walk and then just come back in and keep the briskness going.
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
my, I know. Like I always procrastinate putting together a client's timeline, and it's like literally so easy and fast to do. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to like count backwards by 3 months or whatever. And I'm like, it's not
Mhm.
hard. Like, what is your problem?
Oh yeah, totally. Like same thing when it comes to making proposals for somebody. It's like I have that down to a science now. I can do it really quickly. Yet for some reason in my mind it takes like 2 hours, which is so not
I
true.
know. Same here. What is that? What is that? What is that called? That has to be like some sort of mental phenomenon. Like,
Psychological something or another, but
yeah.
yeah, I need to figure out how to work around that. Or maybe it's like there's a time of day every day where it's like, okay, when the clock strikes 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm going to do 2 of the boring tasks that I've been putting off
Oh
just to
yeah.
know that they have like a dedicated slot of
Like
time.
this is the time of the boring stuff. Like when you have your 2 o'clock coffee, that's when you kind of do all these things, sort of thing.
Yes, exactly. So that might help to do that in one way or another.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to like think of other strategies that might help me get out of my funk.
Well, for me right now, like maybe it's just starting small. Like for me right now, I'm doing like one major thing that I have to get done that day. Like I have obviously like my huge list of all kinds of stuff going on, but I'm like, this is the task. This is the task. And some days it might be like literally just getting like one of these orders that I like, that's like a really big one. Like get that one out the door. Or it could just be like, okay, get this painting done today. I mean, or sometimes it's even like just small, like getting the timeline done, like something like that, where it's just like, I have to get that out of the way. So focusing on getting that one major thing done, whether it's major in my mind or actually major. And then once I get that one thing done, it just like frees up my day to get the rest of the things done. So just focusing on the one major thing. And by the end of the week, if you've only done one major thing a day, that's still like 5 major things, which is still pretty good. Like, sometimes we try to like overcomplicate everything we do, but the reality is we really can only do so much. So maybe just take it down, like boil it down to like the one big thing that needs to get done.
Yes. I really think that if I manage the time in my days well and got up better because I'm really bad at getting up in the mornings and getting my day started, I think I could get all of the tasks I needed done in a day before lunch. Like, I think that's for real. And then it's like, I could spend the rest of the day doing whatever the heck I want to do. But it's like, I need to adopt that mentality and stick to it and put a plan in place if that's what I actually want my day to look like. Because I think that's part of the reason like my brain felt like sludge yesterday is because I let these tasks that could take a relatively short amount of time drag on forever. And then by the time you reach the end of the day, you're like, I feel exhausted because like, what did I even do today? And what did I even accomplish? So it's like, you don't have to fill your day 9 to 5 either. Like you can build your day how you want to build it and be empowered to do it that way, especially if you're your own boss. But I still get stuck in this like 9 to 5 mentality. And I didn't even work a 9 to 5 for like, I basically only a year when I graduated college. It's just like this cultural thing that's so stuck in my head,
Yeah, I know. We totally get stuck in that, like, oh, 9 to 5, 9 to 5. But I was just thinking of that too, because like I always like to work out around 5:30, but like recently I've been working so hard that I've been like going to like at like 6:30, and I'm like, oh, by the time I do all this, I'm like missing out on like my evening time with Alex and stuff. So I'm like trying to work out in the morning now, but I was like, oh, but I don't like waking up super early. Like I like to have like my hour with coffee or whatever. And I'm like, you can have your hour with coffee, Cami. Like there's no one telling you have to be anywhere at a certain time. Like it's really okay if you go to the gym at 8, like instead of, because I was like, oh, I gotta get in the office by 9:30. Like that's my favorite time to work. But I was like, anyway, yeah. So you just like are like, gotta realize you can literally schedule your day how you want, and it's gonna be okay. Like, well, I definitely get hung up on like I have to have 8 hours in the office, and I actually do like to have a full 8-hour day. But like I can have those 8 hours whenever the heck I want. Like it's gonna be okay.
Yes. It is so funny what we're conditioned to kind of accept as normal or the ideal or the standard, when it's like in reality right now we have all the freedom in the world to shape our days the way we want to.
And we
I think
don't.
that's something what?
And we don't.
Oh yeah, and we don't do it. So that's something I think I need to sit down to like do a brain dump on, what do I want my day to look like? What is my ideal day? What is going to feed me and motivate me and like make my work day the best it can be for me? And I also wish it was warmer out. Because then it's like my day could involve like sitting on the front porch with Gilligan for a little longer or going on like a walk. And it's like, it just feels so cold right now. It really has been like in the mornings between 35 and 45 in Georgia. And I'm like, are the winters here always this cold? I'm like, what is going on? Why is it so freaking cold? And so I have to remember too that like, to give myself permission to change things seasonally is also okay, because like what you do one part of the year doesn't have to be what you're doing the rest of the year either. So I don't know. I think I need to definitely take some introspective, reflective time to figure out like in this season, what is perfect for me. And in this season, like, what do I really want to be doing? That's the other thing that I feel like I'm so hung up on too. This is what happens when you have like each finger in a different like teacup. I don't know how to explain it. It's like I feel like I have a bunch of like little teacups set out and all my fingers are like stuck into different ones.
I just picture you with like both all your like your hands and all 10 fingers are in teacups, and you're just like in your office like having your fingers in the teacups but not doing anything.
That's how it feels right now. It's like, what do you call it when it's like there's not that much, but you feel like there's so much that it's like procrastination on a different level. Analysis paralysis. Yeah, I feel like I'm a little bit of like in that stage too, for sure.
Yeah. Cracking up over the teacups. Yeah, and I like what you said about things like you can change it seasonally. And like for me too, like sometimes it's like kickstarts my brain to like switch things up. Like I was like, okay, I'm going to try going to the gym in the morning, and not even like early in the morning, just in the morning when I feel like it. And like that switches things up too. Like that shifts my whole day around. But it's like kind of nice. I've always been like, oh my gosh, the morning light is my favorite light, so I have to protect that morning time. But I'm like, you're not even doing any painting right now, so just calm down. Like it's going to be okay. So even like having that switch is like a fun way to like reshape your day. And like I'm excited to like I like to look at the gym and see what kind of like classes are going on. I could be like, well, I could go to this, noon yoga class if I wanted, and like put that into my week and plan around that. And like half the time I won't do it because I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to work during that time. And it's like, I'll probably just be sitting here like scrolling through Instagram. So might as well just go to the yoga class. Oh my gosh. But yeah, okay. So now that we kind of talked about how our day is just bananas and we don't know how to do anything, let's talk about how you can execute your task.
Yes. So, let's talk a little bit about some organization for things to do.
Yeah.
And things that'll actually help you get stuff done. But I don't know. I feel like people can probably relate a lot to what we're saying in terms of like, I have to figure this out, or I have no idea, or, this isn't a perfect episode for us to tell you exactly what to do. Like Cami said at the beginning, like we're not experts on this by any means, but we can at least offer some execution advice for getting things done when we're feeling really productive.
Yeah, like even if you have like the most meticulously planned schedule, which is both a blessing and a curse sometimes, if you don't actually do the things on your schedule, then there's literally no point in scheduling them out. So this is like probably the biggest priority in actually like planning your day. Like I feel like I don't have a meticulously planned schedule, but I still manage to execute, but I would like to have more schedule, like
Mhm.
planned a little bit. Yes. A side note, you guys, I just bought a planner from Melissa, my dear friend at Talking Out of Turn, and she is incredible. And her planner, I feel like has been like years in the making, and everything she does with like the most fun detail you would never even imagine. Like it's just, there's so many fun things going on in this planner. Like she has like water tracking and then like goal setting and all these like fun little things. Like that's just the way to describe her. Like she's just fantastic. So I got the planner. It's going to be here tomorrow, and I'm really excited because I haven't had a paper planner in so long, because for some reason when I started working for myself, I was like, I don't need a paper planner anymore, but I totally do, because I love like writing things down in my planner. I don't enjoy digital calendars and digital lists. Like there's all kinds of fun tools, but I just don't like those. So I'm super jazzed to get her new planner. It's pretty much made for creative. So if you guys want to check it out, it's talkingoutofturn.com. Little side plug there for her. But anyway, back to execution. So one of the biggest things, obviously, is to eliminate distractions, whatever those are for you.
Mhm.
Yeah. So like turning off the notifications on your phone, obviously that's a huge one. Maybe moving the pile of laundry like out of your line of sight, but
Mhm.
not actually doing the laundry, all these things, getting rid of those things that distract you.
Yeah, I honestly prefer to have my phone in a different room entirely, or I just leave it upstairs a lot of times in the morning. Like I'll come downstairs and then I'll realize later, like, oh, I don't even have my phone on me, which was actually really great to not have that.
Yeah, for sure. And we did a whole episode too about productivity possums, which are the things that make you play dead in your business, which is like scrolling for a million years or just looking at stats for like 3 hours. Like those are productivity possums. So just
Mhm.
like being very mindful of those. And then this all just kind of goes together, but being aware of your buffering moments. Like this is like a huge one for me. Like you ever just be like sitting at your desk and I'll just be like I'll just be looking out the window, like playing with my hair for like 5 minutes, and I'm like, this is a buffering wall. I have no idea what I'm doing. I just like completely sit there.
Yes.
And you're just buffering and you're like, what am I doing? And so like being aware, like, okay, I'm buffering right now. I need to like move forward with something. Like just catching yourself in those moments before they get out of hand.
Yes. And I think something for me is like in terms of productivity possums and buffering moments, because I think this kind of like goes hand in hand. When I'm buffering, I tend to click around on my tabs a lot and look at what's open on my desktop, which can lead to me very quickly getting distracted by something else. So it's like Will was teasing me yesterday because he's like, why do you have Chrome open with a million tabs and Safari open with a million
I have the
tabs?
same thing.
And I was like, well, on Safari, on Safari, I have this, and this project opened up for this client. And on Chrome, I have this, and this project and email opened up for like Biz Birthday Bash and Eliza and calligraphy. And he was like, this is stressful to me. This is crazy. And so, and now that I'm like saying it too, it was so funny that he pointed that out. Like, I think when I am not working on my projects in Safari, I need to close the projects in Safari. Like, I need the tabs to be closed out. I do not need a million tabs to be opened all at once, because otherwise I kind of look up near the top and I'm like, oh, there's the member space tab. I really needed to do blah, 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 blah for such and such member in Biz Birthday Bash. And then really quickly I get sidetracked. And so those, like, I think you're right, Cami, about being conscious of those buffering moments, because that can lead to like distraction really, really easily if all of a sudden you're like, oh, and I have to do this. And if you have no road plan for the day, then you're just going to like rabbit trail the entire day. And then you get to the end and nothing important has been done.
Yep, exactly. Like I love actually sometimes I love when my computer just shuts down without any warning, because then I'm like, well, I lost all those tabs, but you know what? That means I have to start fresh. Like it's like a forceful
Yeah.
reset. And I'm like, never restore the tabs. Just start fresh. Like if you lost them, it was meant to be. Do not restore the tabs.
I know. Now I'm like feeling inspired. I'm like, after we finish up recording for the day, I think I'm just going to like X everything out, clean off my desktop, write down what I need to get done and do it.
Yeah, exactly. Like sometimes just Xing out of all your tabs is like a huge weight off your shoulders.
Yes, because it's like not only are we trying to keep our physical and tangible environments clean on a daily basis, we're also trying to keep our digital environments organized and clean too. And this is like something in humanity that we've never had to deal with to this extent ever, right? And it's
Mhm.
like, so not only my desktop or my laptop, but my iPhone and my iPad and all these other things that I'm like, I could categorize this better or do this better. And there's a million tabs open on everything. It's like, it's total overload sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But make sure you guys, when you are clearing off all that stuff, like that you're not just being busy, you're being productive. Like the end goal is to be productive with getting those tasks done, not just filling your day with tasks. Like there's a distinction there. So if you want to really run your day, you have to get the things done and not just schedule your day into oblivion, because that doesn't work either, which is like really important too, to readjust your plan if needed. Like be flexible, leave breathing room into your day. Like do not do hourly tracking and literally have something for every single hour. Like you're going to mess it up and it's going to just like snowball. Like you miss 1 hour, it's just never going to work. So be flexible, allow yourself to have that breathing room that gives you like all that space to actually get it done.
Yeah, that's very true. And I will say one note on that, because like time blocking helped me a lot. But just because it was on the calendar for 1 hour doesn't mean that was the exact hour I was doing it. It was more of like a mental thing of like, I've blocked an hour out for this today because this is something that's on my to-do list that needs to be done. It does not have to be done from 2 to 3 p.m., but it needs to be done at some point today. One thing that I do really seriously time block though is like envelope addressing. So when I put down that I need to be addressing envelopes, like I literally need to be addressing envelopes.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever really done time blocking ever in that sense. Like I'll just make a list. So yeah, because I don't like to have like, I know you say you didn't do it at that time necessarily, but I don't like to be look at my calendar and be like, oh, 2:00, I gotta do this. Like I don't know, I just don't work well with that.
It just helps me see what needs to be done each day. So then I can look at my week and be like, oh, that's right. I have this meeting on Tuesday, or we're podcast recording on Thursday, which means I only have the afternoon to get the tasks done that I need to get done that day. So I build my day around the in-person meetings that are happening, basically, whether that's like via Zoom or grabbing coffee with a friend or networking, whatever that might be. I have to like build my day around that. And so at least being conscious of what I have going on that day can really help me.
Yeah, for sure. Have you ever heard of this? It's like a new calendar tool. I think it's called like tweak.so. I gotta look it up again, but it looks like something you would like. I tried to use it last week, but I was like, I don't like digital stuff because I forget to look at it. That's why I needed the paper planner again. But it's like the cleanest, most minimal, like little like weekly calendar. And it's like so simple because, some of the stuff we look at for like productivity and managing your time and all that stuff is so complicated that it's like stressful to use it, And I liked how this one was like super clean.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Isn't it so cute? Yeah. So you might like that too. And if you want to put like the time, you can just put like the like hour in front of it. Like I did put this week's stuff in there. So I have like 10:00 podcast recording on Thursday and some stuff, but like, But yeah, isn't it so clean and nice?
It's really clean and nice. I mean, I effectively do this really similarly in Google Calendar.
Yeah, this is just prettier than Google Calendar.
It is prettier than Google Calendar. It's
like if you left this up sitting out like on like keeping a little browser open just with this little thing, it would be like, it's like refreshing to look at.
Yeah, that's great too, because at the bottom of this, it has like this little category that says someday.
Yeah, it's so cute.
Make lists of things that you need to get done or fixed or checked off. So yeah, I love the concept of that. How can you reverse the days so it's not European?
That I do not know.
Because right now it says day, then month, and it's really tripping me up.
Oh, that is tripping me up. No, I didn't even like really notice that. But
yeah, so it's definitely a European designed app, which is cool.
Yeah, and it also does like the little drag and drop with the task too, so kind of like Trello-ish.
yes.
Yeah, so super cute, you guys. That website was tweak.so, tweek.so.
Yeah, that's a great way to start doing some list building. I
Yeah,
really
it's like
like that.
it's like list building light, like it's very chill. So
Yeah,
definitely like that.
we need more things that help us simplify
Yeah.
and
Like,
clear
it's like a
some mental
little breath
space.
of fresh air when I look at that. Like, I really did like it, but I just don't do well with stuff on a screen, is what I realized.
Yes.
So,
This is so funny to me then that it's taken you like 5 years to buy a physical planner.
I know, like, it really I mean, I used to have my day designer, and I used that thing like nobody's business. Like, when I used to work at the office, like, I loved my day designer. I used that for everything, and then I never bought one again after, like, the first year of business because I didn't really use it as much. But now I'm like, "Why don't I have that?" Like, I really enjoyed writing things down, and also I liked having it for, like to look over for the whole year. Now
Yes.
I just have, like, 8,000 pieces of paper all over my desk, so I'm
Well,
like, "No."
something great that Will and I do for like our personal organization now, for any of you who are trying to organize life, whether it's like household or your significant other or just yourself, is we have like an email specific to our house. So it's actually a joint email account, which is awesome because then we're both logged in and we can both see that and be on the same page. And we also have a calendar hanging in our kitchen. So, like a physical calendar that we can pen in appointments and notes. So then we can kind of take a look at the week together to be like, okay, this is what is written down for this week. This is when Elizabeth might be gone on this trip. This is when so and so is coming into town. This is when Azula's appointment is at the vet, things like
Mhm,
that.
mhm.
So that's been like a great way for Will and I to get on the same page, and to have that in like a physical format has been really great for us.
Yeah, that's awesome for sure. We do have a calendar like that, but it hasn't been updated since last September. So,
Ours is a flip calendar from Bryn
yeah,
Casey. So we got one of her 2021 calendars, which is phenomenal. And I'm really excited about it. So
yeah. Now I want to like go change the calendar. See, God, I feel so good now. Okay. Oh yeah. Also, another thing about executing. This has been really big for me. Just in the past few months, is like hourly check-ins with myself. And it's not like I sit down and I'm like, okay, I need to check in. It's just like every hour in the hour, I'm just like, okay, what did I get done in the past hour? What have I been doing? Because like it's easier to like not let your day get away from you when you're literally like checking on yourself every hour to be like, oh shoot, I just spent an hour doing, I don't even know what I was doing. Like, when you're just
yes.
buffering or looking at Lululemon or whatever it is. And
Yeah.
you're like, well, there goes an hour. Like it just went by so quickly. So to be like, oh, okay, well, this past hour I was packing orders. All right, carry on, move on with your life. Like, so just like checking in with yourself every hour in the hour, and be honest with yourself what you're doing. Like that has been really helpful for me to be aware of like what I'm doing during the day.
Yep. Absolutely love that. And it's so true, just to continue to be conscious of it. Like I should have been asking myself that yesterday. Like, is what I'm doing right now really productive and what I need to be doing at this point of time to get things done in my day? Okay. And so speaking of the hourly check-ins, we have a couple of questions that you guys can keep asking yourself as you tweak your planning strategy for running your day. Tweak and tweak. Oh my gosh, I get it. Like tweak.so. It's like you can tweak your calendar. That is so
Yeah.
clever. It's just spelled differently.
Yeah.
Anyways. Some of the questions that you can ask yourself: are my days chill and productive or stressful and haphazard?
Yeah. So like if you're doing one of these strategies like the Pomodoro technique and you're like, I am so stressed out right now because I have a timer going off every 25 minutes, then this is not a good way for you to work. This is not a productive way for you. So you can kind of like tweak from there and use tweak.so. So yeah, just like checking in with that. And then, do I feel accomplished at the end of most days? Like, are you feeling like you're getting stuff done? Are my high priority tasks getting done? Because sometimes we get stuck in the like busy but not productive thing where you're just doing things that are, you need to get done in your business, but the high priority tasks are getting pushed to the side.
Yep. Am I on track to meet my long-term goals? That is a great question. I need to do some more goal building.
Yeah, just like thinking ahead to be like, okay, well, am I taking the steps right now for what I want to be doing in a year, 2 years, next month? Like
Right.
whatever long term you're looking at. Like one of the things that I'm trying to like get on track to meet my long term goals is I want to be able to like be hands off in my business when we do have a family. So I'm like, everything I do is like building towards that. Like getting systems in place and that kind of thing. Like that's like a long-term goal. It's like very much in my head on how I like plan and structure my business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Great point. And then this day was super productive. Why? What caused that productivity boost? I love that question.
Like when you have a freaking good day and you're like, dang, I did so much today, like actually reflect on why. Like, was it the way you set up your timing? Was it like the fact that you went on a walk in the morning, or you did go to the gym at, in the middle of the day and that really helped you, those types of things. Like what is actually making you be productive? Like take note.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then the last question, Cami,
is I accomplished nothing on this day. Why? And I know one of the things for me, like I know I'm going to accomplish nothing when I go get lunch with someone in the middle of the day. Like that's not Alex, because Alex and I go get lunch a lot. But like if I go like meet a friend for lunch, I won't get anything done that day. Like I just won't, because like the whole morning I'll just be like, oh, I can't get started on anything because I got to go here. And then when I get back, then I'm like so out of focus. Mm-hmm. So I really try not to do lunches in the middle of the day unless I'm just like, whatever, I'll just have a day to burn kind of thing, because I just don't get anything done.
Yeah. I can still get a lot of things done if I do like a breakfast or morning coffee with someone, because then I can come back and like recenter for the rest of the day. But you're right, like lunch in the middle of the day can be tough. But at the same time, I also love lunch. Lunch might be like my favorite meal of the day.
Well, then maybe it would be like a day where you're productive because you're looking forward to having that break in the middle, like
maybe that's very true, because then it's like I have to get this done before I leave, or I have to get it done when I get back. But
yeah,
all that to be said, that was a good solid almost 50 minutes of us strategizing.
Oh, dang.
How the heck we can be more productive and really evaluating whether we run our days or our days run us. And mine bounce back and forth, that's for sure. I feel like when I am more booked, quote unquote, when I have things that people have hired me for, it keeps me on track a lot more. Mm-hmm. And I find myself dawdling when I am in between phases and don't have things on my to-do list. So that's when I need to give myself permission to brainstorm or experiment or work on something that I have wanted to work on, and intentionally schedule that in, instead of just sitting there and being like, oh, well, I don't have client work right now because I'm in between tasks for this or whatever it may be. So I think that's something I have to be better about.
Yeah, for sure. And like we're always going to have, it's not like every day is going to be perfect, in terms of productivity. Like we're all going to have days where like the day just runs you, like things come up and it's just like you're just putting out fires all day, or you just have a slow day. And I also want to make a point too that like in order to be productive and run our days, we need to make sure that we have a day of like laziness or a day of rest. Like we are made to have those days. So don't forget about that too, because that's really important part of this process, is that you give your brain like time to rest so you can be like, ready to go as much as possible during your actual work hours.
Yes, absolutely. Well, everyone, I hope you have enjoyed listening to us strategize and talk and just be like really honest during this episode about how our days sometimes go or don't go. And if you are loving the podcast, please take a moment to leave us a rating and a review on iTunes. That is how new people find us. And obviously, we want creatives to be plugged into this amazing community as much as possible. And then if you have a question, you can go to bizbirthdaybash.com, scroll down to our footer and click the Q and Cake button, because that'll take you to a page where you can submit a question to us that we will either answer on one of our Q and Cake episodes or turn into its own full-blown episode, because that has definitely happened a couple times lately where you guys ask such good questions. We feel like we need to devote a lot more time to it.
Yeah, for sure. And you guys, let's get out there and run our days in 2021, and it's going to be awesome. And we love you, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye. See y'all later.
Hey guys, we share a ton of free, helpful info here on the podcast, but if you're looking to go deeper, you need our Business Sense for Creatives bundle. This is our foundational resource. We share it all: our pricing strategies, marketing plans, our favorite print partners, real life examples of our invoices and workflows, and so much more. Literally, it is amazing. It really is the comprehensive guide for a money-making creative biz.
So with the bundle, you'll get access to our 3 webinar replays, Pricing with Purpose, how to be confident when it comes to charging your worth, People and Publicity, how to find clients and deliver an awesome experience, and lastly, Productivity and Processes, how to run your business efficiently and get crap done.
And not to mention, you'll also get our 3 bonus PDF party favors. What? We've heard from students that these are worth the price of it alone. So the party favors are pricing FAQs, the SEO cheat sheet, and a mini favorite vendors guide to get you started on where to print invitations.
So just to clarify, that is not only 3 awesome video recordings, but 3 bonus PDFs as well that support the content from the videos. So I think it's a pretty good deal.
Totally. It's the best deal out there. And you have lifetime access to it, which also adds to the whole value. So
woohoo! Don't take it from us though. Take it from the hundreds of students who have learned from the bundle and have said that these were the best, most real and informative webinars that they've ever watched. We've seen students double their prices after watching these and totally skyrocket their businesses.
This is our roadmap of how we got to where we are today, so skip the mistakes and speed bumps, doing it the slow way, and let us put you on the fast track to running a creative biz like a boss and pricing for profit and not just pay.
And the best part, this resource is less than $100. Seriously, y'all, it's only $97 and it's so worth that price and much more. So go to bizbirthdaybash.com/bundle to purchase it today.